Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria Evans. I'm a science-based intuitive eating specialist helping you stop food fear, food guilt, and self-sabotage so you can eat effortlessly and feel amazing. So today we're going to be talking all about breath work for binging, and I'm going to be explaining why it is such a game changer, and then I'm going to be leading you through 2 breathwork practices. So I suggest you save this video so you can come back to it, as well as like and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Also, I would love if you could please comment below what type of video you want to see next so I can make that for you and best support you. So breathwork for binging. What some of you may not know is that I'm actually a certified breathwork facilitator, and I got certified for one main reason, and that is nervous system regulation. Your nervous system can be in different states, one of which being the sympathetic state, which you've maybe heard of, right, known as that fight or flight response. Now, the sympathetic state has an interesting relationship with binge eating. When your nervous system is in a sympathetic state, activated by stress or think there's some kind of a threat, basically your body is going to go into a heightened state of arousal, that fight or flight mode. We can feel quite chaotic and out of control, especially when eating. Essentially, we are dysregulated. Now, this can trigger stress hormones like cortisol, which can really also affect your appetite as well as your cravings. So in an attempt to kind of soothe or distract ourselves from that stress, what ends up happening is we turn to binge eating as our coping mechanism, right? And the intense sensory experience of binge eating can kind of temporarily override those kind of distress signals when we are in that sympathetic state. Right. So one of the best and most effective ways to down-regulate your nervous system, really get you into, a state where your body feels safe. You don't need to binge as a coping mechanism and attempt to kind of recreate that safety. A way that we can do that super simple is through our breath. As well as I just wanted to add on a reminder that, judging yourself and shaming yourself around binging is just exacerbating the issue. It's just making your body feel more unsafe. So, approach this all with compassion and curiosity. So in addition to that sympathetic state, when we end up, binging as a way to try to cope and make ourselves feel better, on the other hand, we also sometimes binge when our nervous system is in a dorsal state. So when our nervous system is in that dorsal state, it's kind of known as that freeze or that fawn or that shutdown. So this is when we can kind of feel out of body, disconnected, numb, right, dissociated from our body and our emotions, and binge eating kind of serve as a way to numb or distract from those uncomfortable feelings. It can give us that kind of temporary sense of comfort and grounding. So those are 2 different states that can really impact our binging response. And I don't want to go too deep into the science of this today and bore you, but something else that is really important to be aware of and touch on is the ventral state, right? So this is also known as the window of tolerance. And this is basically the optimal state for emotional regulation and self-awareness. However, if you're someone who's experienced trauma or, chronic stress, that window of tolerance may become narrower, basically making it more difficult to stay within that regulated state. And so if you're someone who has that chronic stress or has experienced trauma, right, in an attempt to regulate our emotions or escape feelings of overwhelm, we'll sometimes turn to binge eating basically as a way to try to temporarily expand that window of tolerance, basically making our body feel more safe. So basically our body's trying to help us, right? It's noticing that our body feels really unsafe, whether it be from past things or from whatever's happening right now. And our body's doing what it knows how to do to, widen that window of tolerance, basically where our body can feel more safe. And it's trying to do that with what it has available to it, right? That coping mechanism that it has in our environment. Often what we've learned from a very young age, if we didn't get taught the coping mechanisms, if we didn't get taught the tools for how to help our body feel safe, we will turn to food as a way to do that. And that is really smart, right? That is really resourceful. So if you are binge eating, that there's nothing wrong with you. You are not broken. It is a resourceful way that you are trying to help your body feel more safe. Now, as well, it's really important to remember that each person's journey with binge eating is different, right? It's distinct with personal factors, specific conditions that all play a role in this behavior. And so the dysregulation of the nervous system is really just one piece of this very complex puzzle. But focusing on this element, focusing on the regulation of your nervous system can be a huge, significant step in the process of recovering from binge eating. So knowing this, what can we do? So we can begin to regulate the nervous system and really support our binge eating recovery by engaging in breath work. And so here are 2 breathwork techniques for binging if you're in that sympathetic state, right? That fight or flight mode. And we want to get into that parasympathetic, right? That social engagement, ventral vagal, able to emotionally regulate, feel safe in our body state. So the first one I want to share with you is alternate nostril breathing. And we want to be doing this for about 5 minutes, but again, do what feels good for you. If it feels like a lot, it feels overwhelming, if you're starting to feel more anxious and all that, then stop immediately, right? This is not trying to make you not feel good. This is trying to basically help you feel more relaxed and more safe within your body. So if it's doing anything but that, stop right away, okay? And so what I want you to do is sit comfortably. You can have your legs crossed. What I want you to do is lift your right hand to your nose, and I want you to exhale completely, right? Use your right thumb, and I want you to plug your right nostril. Then I want you to inhale through your left nostril. Then at the top of that breath there, I want you to basically close the left nostril with your index finger, the middle finger there. And then that opens up the right nostril. It's hard to film this. And then I basically want you to exhale through that side, right? So we have our right finger here. We're inhaling. When you get to the top of that breath, the top of the inhale, we want to switch the index finger, and then we want to exhale here. Right? So exhale through the right side. And then what you want to do again, inhale through the right side. It was a little stuffy. And then I want you to close that right nostril, switching over, and then exhaling through this side. So I want you to be doing that for about 5 minutes if you can. Reminder that you're basically always switching your fingers at the top of the breath. And so we can do this for a minute together now. Let me just grab my phone. Go to my stopwatch. Okay. So let's do about 5 minutes here, 5 minutes. Let's do 1 minute here, and then you can hit the pause button, but just so you can see what it looks like together. Also, it's winter here. My nose is a little bit stuffy. I'm getting a cold. So if that's picking up on the mic that I have a stuffy nose, I apologize. Okay. All right. So let's do it together. Go whatever speed, whatever cadence you want as well, whatever feels good for you. The bonus is you look super cool doing it. So one of the cool things about breathwork, before I dive into the next one, is that it's actually an active form of meditation, right? And so doing something like breathwork, if you're someone who's feeling so anxious and overwhelmed that sitting down, the idea of kind of doing meditation and closing your eyes and sitting there and being with your thoughts and all that is too much, doing something like this, an active form of meditation, concentrating on that breath, having something you can be doing with your fingers really can help you kind of slow down, connect to your body a little bit. And again, as I mentioned before, really help you down regulate so you can feel more connected to your body, telling your body you're more safe, right? Regulating that nervous system. So this is a super simple technique for you to use, and maybe not always the best to do in public. I mean, you're obviously welcome to, but I know for myself, this is something I can do during the day when I'm at home, especially in the evenings. I'm feeling a bit more stressed and overwhelmed after I'm finished work for the day, maybe. A super great technique that you can do that's available to you whenever you want. All right, so knowing that one, knowing the alternate nostril breathing, the next one I want to teach you is diaphragmatic breathing. Now, you've probably have heard of this, or maybe you know of belly breathing, basically. But basically, this is an amazing technique to really engage that stomach. For so many years, especially if you were socialized as a woman, you were not taught how to breathe properly. You were taught to suck in your stomach, right? You were taught to kind of hold yourself in a very rigid manner to try to make yourself smaller and try to fit into certain clothes. And that's terrible for your breathing. So that means you end up breathing high in your chest, and that kind of mimics that sympathetic fight or flight response, right? So we want to be breathing deep into that low belly, right? That kind of the diaphragm, which is basically sitting right here. So when we're breathing in that manner, it basically tells our body, hey, we're safe. Hey, we're okay. We don't need to be going to food as a way to try to self-soothe and as a way to try to cope because we feel unsafe in our environment. So breathing tells our body that we are okay, we are safe. This is a super simple technique. So what you want to do is basically you want to be laying down, or you can be sitting down like I am for this video, relaxing that neck and shoulders, placing both hands on that lower belly here, if you can see that, and then breathing in through the nose, the belly rises. Breathing out for the mouth for twice as long, while collapsing that belly. Now, seeing if you can do about 20 breaths. Again, you don't need to do that many if it's not feeling so good, but I invite you to try doing about 20 breaths. You can do a couple here together now. Now, remember, the exhale twice as long as the inhale. This doesn't have to be a perfect science. Don't get too caught up in that. But basically, when you have a longer exhale than inhale, you're putting your body into that parasympathetic state, that more relaxed state where your body feels more safe. It triggers that vagus nerve and helps your body feel better. So, reminding you to put your hands onto that low belly, onto that diaphragm there. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth for twice as long. That's one. Exhale, feeling that belly collapse underneath your hands. Inhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Last one here, inhale and exhale. I don't know about you, but I feel so very calm right now and so very chill. I feel like I started every video a bit like, woohoo, a bit high energy, and now I feel like I'm just like, very much calmed down and chilled out. So those are two really simple, really great techniques. Whatever one feels best to you. If alternate nostril breathing feels confusing, or you don't like it, or you're like me and you have a bit of a cold right now, it's winter, and the nostril breathing doesn't feel good, then you can obviously just try practicing that diaphragmatic breathing. Really so important, really so amazing. You'll notice how different you feel pretty quickly when you're practicing these breathwork techniques to help you feel more in your body, right? Get out of that fight or flight state, that overwhelmed state. And so practicing that, especially when you feel like a binge is on the horizon, but also as well throughout the day, so you don't get to the point where you feel like you need to binge as a way to cope. Right? So you want to be grounding yourself, getting yourself back into that social engagement system where you can really regulate and really better address whatever unmet needs you might be having. All right, so that is what I have for you today. I invite you to please like and subscribe and comment below what you'd like to see more of. It really means the world to me. I also wanted to remind you that we have our new community opening so soon. So please keep your eyes peeled for that. I'll pop below into the video description, the links you can sign up for that, join the newsletter, all of it. So there's so much free information and useful, everything going on there. And I'd love for you to be a part of it. Just thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Happy breathing. And we'll talk soon.